The Resident Evil Requiem DLC is officially at the center of a pretty big leak right now, and it completely changes the conversation around what Capcom is planning for the future of the story. Ever since we got it announced, the community has been totally obsessed with trying to figure out what exactly is going to happen in this upcoming story expansion, but instead of another rumor, there was apparently an accidental slip-up from allegedly a high credible source that confirms that Ada Wong is stepping right back into the spotlight for this DLC. And if Ada Wong is officially back in the picture, it immediately reopens the biggest and most debated mystery from the end of the base game, Leon Kennedy's wedding ring. Ever since we had that reveal, everyone has been trying to figure out who he actually settled down with. Could it be Ada Wong? Is it someone else? Well, to make things even crazier, game director Koshi Nakanishi just did a brand new interview where he directly addresses the theories surrounding Leon's wife. So we're gonna break it all down. Hit the sub button if you're excited for the Requiem DLC, and let's get into it. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the DLC leak slash rumor. This is coming from multiple sources. First, we have Spanish creator Stevie Wonder and also aesthetic gamer Dusk Golem talked about it as well. Both of them took to Twitter to confirm something huge regarding this upcoming DLC for Requiem. Now, what makes this, situation really unique is actually how the information got out. This wasn't a data mine or an anonymous source. This actually was a mistake made publicly by someone with direct ties to Capcom. Now, I don't know who this person was, but I'm going to take their word for it. This is apparently somebody that is close to Capcom. So Dusk Golem said on Twitter, shout out to him. He said, okay, so I sat on this for a bit and thank you to Stevie Wonder for bringing it to my attention. There was a slight slip up somewhere. It's an unintentional leak. This wasn't from his sources, he said, but Ada Wong is very likely in the Resident Evil Requiem DLC. That's all the context. It's not my claims. It's from something that went public a bit accidentally. I think it was an honest mistake, so I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but yeah, paints Ada being involved in Requiem's DLC in some way. Now, Stevie Wonder, the person that discovered this leak, he said this on Twitter. As we said in the previous Drycast official podcast by Mr. Dry ES, it's very likely that Ada Wong will be in the DLC for Resident Evil Requiem. As we mentioned, and as Aesthetic Gamer points out, no further details can be given. Now, somebody responded to Dusk Golem and said, I'm curious what kind of leak it was, to which he responded, yeah, the problem here is it was in public. Giving a hint points directly to who leaked it, who has ties to Capcom, and it honestly appears to be a mistake. The only thing that had come to hinting it is it would get the person in serious trouble for a mistake. Now, Stevie Wonder also was asked about the source, to which he said, we cannot, and you will understand when it's official, both for the confirmation of the leak or if it turns wrong, not fake, wrong. Also why we cannot say. And then he said, the source is direct. Somebody then followed up and said, is there anything else you can say about this leak that doesn't affect you or the other side? To which Stevie Wonder responded, she may be there. We do not know the role. The source is legit and direct, and it can be true due to a slip, or it can be wrong due to a lapsus or mistake, but never fake. We will see. To which there was a follow-up that said, just one question, if you can answer it. Do you know if there's any other information that mentions answers? Like if we might get an answer to something in this possible DLC, it could be anything. To which Stevie Wonder responded, the point is that this thing was so accidental that we do not know anything else. It came by accident, literally. Now, Dusk Golem was then asked some questions regarding this leak as well, to which they said, the leak is definitely real, like undoubtedly real, but to see how it comes together, I don't have a good grasp of RE9's DLC at all or what's in it, but this specific thing is an actual mistake someone slipped up with. There was then a follow-up question that said, so you think she will 100% be in the DLC after this leak, or is there chances of something changing? To which Dusk responded, I can't say 100% since I don't have any real serious grasp right now on what RE9's DLC is, but it is 100% true that someone with ties to Capcom slipped up and might have spilled the tea a bit on accident. So yes, it is still in the territory of like leak slash rumor. I would take it with a grain of salt at this point, but what it sounds like is they're telling us that someone closely affiliated with the team or, with Capcom accidentally spilled the tea on Ada Wong's involvement for this new DLC. Again, things might be different, things might have changed. It really is hard saying. Now, if Ada Wong is officially stepping into the spotlight for this story expansion, it immediately sets off some alarm bells regarding Leon's current situation. Resident Evil Requiem really split its narrative beautifully between the newcomer Grace Ashcroft, giving us that pure horror experience, survival horror at its absolute best, and of course Leon Kennedy brought RPGs, tanks, freaking ray guns, all that stuff just to be able to do what he has to do, because he is the seasoned veteran that gets to use all the OP stuff that's really addicting and fun. But the ending left Leon in a very mysterious place. Now, I'm not going to go into the full details of the ending, but you guys know that ending scene where Leon puts the wedding ring on. But that begs the very interesting question: if Ada Wong is the focal point of this upcoming DLC, is it likely that we are going to hear more about Leon's backstory in his personal life? The dynamic between Leon and Ada has been a core pillar of the franchise for a long time, like for years, decades. Requiem showed us a Leon who has fundamentally changed. Bringing Ada Wong back into the fold, like right after we learned that Leon is married, is a deliberate narrative choice, and they're teasing everyone. You can't put Ada Wong and a married Leon in the same storyline without addressing the elephant in the room, and that is she the one who is married to him, or is she showing up to complicate his new life with someone else? Well, this brings us directly to the man in charge, Resident Evil Requiem director Koshi Nakanishi. Now, Eurogamer recently sat down with the director, and the debate over Leon's wife has gotten so loud that even Eurogamer asked the question to try to settle the debate once and for all. Now, surprisingly, Nakanishi actually responded. He didn't give a straight name, but his quotes are pretty revealing. Now, speaking to Eurogamer, Nakanishi said this, and I quote, "The answer will become clear someday, but not just yet. What we wanted to convey in the final scene is simple. Leon now has a place to go home to, and we hope you can imagine the peaceful moments he spends there." Well, let's pause and talk about that first sentence. The answer will become clear someday, but not just yet. He isn't saying it's a permanent mystery. He's outright telling us and confirming that there is a definitive answer and an actual canon truth to who Leon is married to. And Capcom is simply waiting for the right moment to reveal it. Nakanishi then continued on, giving us a deep dive into Leon's mindset. He told Eurogamer this: "Leon is a man who says very little about the things that truly matter, but he would sacrifice himself without a second thought to save a life right in front of him. So what does that ring signify? Resolve or a vow?" Which is something that I didn't really think about. Like, it is an interesting way to frame the ring. Like, asking if it signifies like resolve or a vow, Nakanishi really is opening up the door to the idea that the ring might not even be a traditional marriage. Could it be a promise made to someone he lost? Perhaps a symbol of a new life he's trying to protect? Or is it a literal vow of marriage? He then finished off his statement by saying this: "He may never voice the answer himself, but for now, after finishing the long battle, he has a place to go home to. Isn't that enough?" Now, whenever it comes to the narrative aspect, like, that is a beautiful send-off for this character who's been through absolute hell and back. But from a fan perspective, no, that's absolutely not enough, and Capcom knows it. Koshi Nakanishi knows exactly what they're doing. This is them deliberately teasing the community. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. But now the question really becomes, when is someday? Could that someday be for the Requiem DLC? If Ada Wong is confirmed to be in this expansion, exploring Leon's personal life alongside her appearance would make perfect sense. Imagine a DLC where we play as Ada Wong working behind the scenes, and then the narrative explores her current relationship with Leon. If they're married, this DLC is the perfect place to confirm it. Now, if they aren't, the DLC could serve as like the emotional closure to their decade-long dynamic, finally explaining why Leon moved on and found his current place to go home with someone else. Now, I do think we have to look at this from like a franchise perspective, because revealing the identity of Leon Kennedy's wife could be a massive like marketing point. They might just be playing coy right now because they're saving that reveal for a future mainline game. As much as I want this new DLC to answer the question, I think a part of me, kind of thinks Capcom might hold on to this secret until RE10 or RE11 or, whatever they decide to do in the future. But with Ada Wong slipping into the DLC, the chances of getting a breadcrumb of truth are a lot higher than I thought, last week. And with all of that being said, I want to talk about the release window for this DLC. Knowing what the DLC is only half the battle, obviously. Knowing when we can actually play it is just as important. Now, earlier, Capcom officially announced that Requiem is getting a story expansion alongside a new minigame and a new photo mode. And we know for a fact that the minigame and, update is dropping around May, but the story expansion is a completely different beast. Director Koshi Nakanishi specifically told fans, "It will take some time, so we ask for your patience." So they're clearly working on it, but it sounds like it's not going to be ready for the early summer release window. But whenever it comes to the DLC release, we have to look at the entire landscape of gaming for the rest of this year. The launch of GTA 6 is looming over everything. It's launching in November, and no one is going to release a game or a DLC or update like that anywhere near that GTA 6 launch window. And because of that, I think it's pretty safe to assume that the Requiem DLC will launch somewhere in the late summer or early fall, likely targeting that August to October window, which in my opinion, I think October is the absolute sweet spot here. It's the month of Halloween. It's when, horror games usually see their highest engagement of sales spikes. So dropping a massive Ada and Leon focused story expansion right in the middle of spooky season would make a lot of sense. It also gives Capcom enough time, roughly about 8 months from the base game's launch, to ensure the quality of their upcoming, DLC is incredibly high. So we get the update in May, we get the DLC probably in October, and then we get the reveal for, Code Veronica remake, likely around the Game Awards this year in December, which if that's the case, like we are looking at a great stacked year for Resident Evil. But that's going to wrap it up with this video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. What is your take on this leak? Do you think the Ada Wong, leak is real? Do you want her in the DLC? And who do you think Leon's wife is going to be? Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe with your noties on, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.